Hello, welcome to Dr. Red Frizzle here again. What I want to talk to you about today is why certain animals and plants are limited to specific sizes. Because this whole series has been about size and how you measure size and the size of various organelles relative to each other. But overall, we need to know what factors actually cause these sizes to be as they are. So first of all, we'll describe some limiting factors with you. So limiting factors of a cell, of a plant for example, space, let's put a plant, so on space, next one might be water, next one might be carbon dioxide, okay, so there's a few limiting factors for plants. But there's also limiting factors for animals, in particular food chains. So animals might be food. So what we mean by food is just nutrients that the animal needs to actually survive. So what nutrients does it need? Well, it needs nutrients for respiration, which include oxygen and glucose, which is quite convenient really, because the plants, photosynthesize, will make oxygen and glucose. Right, so the limiting factors like determine the size of different things, because you get certain plants like trees, for example, that are really, really tall, which is because they've got access to obviously a lot of carbon dioxide, a lot of water and a lot of space. But there's obviously always going to be a limit to the amount of one of these things. You can't have an infinite amount of water on the Earth, because the Earth isn't infinite in size, it is a specific size. So you can't just have a continuous amount of something. So I wanted to introduce this whole idea of why things are limited, and this is it, because you can't have an infinite amount of everything, so you can't have an infinite amount of size. So theoretically you can't have a plant that's infinitely high or infinitely wide. The other thing is cells itself. Last time I spoke about prokaryotes and eukaryotes, so I'll just write that down. And I forgot to mention, the example of prokaryote is not a virus. It's actually bacteria and archaea. Eukaryotes is just like any animal cell really is a eukaryote. I'll do you another example actually of limiting factors. So if we have some trees in the rainforest, so we have the emergent layer, and then we have some trees here in the main canopy. We have a few little diddy trees down here. Why is that tree so much bigger than these trees? Well, the answer to that is because this tree has grown first, because it's got access to a lot of light, so the sun's sort of coming in like this. Might be one little bit of light that gets sort of through there, a little bit light through there, like that. But there's no light getting down to these ones, or very little anyway. It's only a small amount of this light actually manages to get down to these little trees at the bottom, which means that these trees at the bottom can't grow as high because they can't photosynthesize as much, because to make their own food the plants actually need light, so they can't actually do it. The emergent layer is just this very top tree, as I've said before, so I'll label this emergent. This bit here is known as the main canopy, and you might sometimes refer to this layer as the shrub layer. Okay, so these are your main sort of layers in a rainforest. The other thing I was going to ask while we're on a topic of size is, why do elephants have big ears? The answer is to keep them cool. So, elephant, big ears, keep them cool. And then we could go on to the question, why are elephants big altogether? Why is the whole of their body pretty much big? The answer to this is because predators can't actually attack them. If you think about it, they're so big and massive that if a lion started to attack one, it could just sort of trample it to death. So the basic idea of this is that the elephants that sort of adapted over time to become bigger could like fend off for themselves a bit easier, which means that you're left with an elite group or a really highly advanced group of elephants that are capable of defending themselves against predators. So that sort of answers why they're so big. The other thing is there's certain like prokaryotes and stuff that are very small, at the complete opposite end of the scale. And the reason why this is because they don't need to be any bigger than they are. They can carry out all their functions they need to in a small space, and it's pretty even more efficient than carry out in a larger space for them anyway. For eukaryotes, they're obviously very efficient because they've got a number of different organelles that enable them to carry out multiple functions. I'll probably talk about those individual functions in a future video, but the main point is that eukaryotes are very efficient as well, and they're not quite as small, so I write small there, because they've got a lot more specialist organelles for doing particular things. But these don't need it because they're so efficient as it is, because they're so small, so they can transport substances really quickly. So you have a liver cell, it's only got this far to transport substance out and its substances in, whereas this cell has got further to do it, but because they've got specialist organelles just all around the place, it's actually only got a short distance to actually move them. So it doesn't actually affect it. With these prokaryotes and eukaryotes, they both function very efficiently, and this is actually a more sort of a more developed form of this one. So I hope this has been helpful, and hope you understand a bit more about limiting factors for everything pretty much. If you have any questions, feel free to leave comments in the comments part of this video. Hope you've enjoyed it, and see you in the next video. And that concludes our series on sizes. Thanks.